Hello, my dearest divine masculine. I know it has been some time since I have, I want to say since I have really allowed myself to reach out to you in these beautiful, energetic ways. I'm sure by now that you are in a place of, mm, not confusion, but definitely, I know you, and I know that you are beguiled by just about everything that I do and don't do. I know that as time has gone on and I have listened more and more, both to spirit, my ancestors, my guides, my allies, and my heart, that I have carved out a path. I feel like in choosing our journey, in choosing to continue to love your stubborn butt, that it was like I came across a five-way crossroad, and all of the paths around me were clearly carved. I could have taken any number of them, and they all could have been easier, so to speak, to take. And yet, me being exactly who I am, the divine feminine of my own creation, I saw a machete laying on the ground with a pair of loppers and said, I will not take any of these known paths. I will I will create my own. And it feels like if I had taken those roads that a million good things could have happened. Though I know that I would not feel that in every quantum molecule in my bones, in every part of my being, that I would not feel this confident and this delightful about knowing that all of those paths would have been wonderful no matter which one I had decided to take if I had not decided to follow my own stubborn streak and say, no, I will not take the known roads. I will go off not just the beaten path, I will go where there is no path. And I'm looking back at the paths that we've had, how many times that Spirit has provided me with the opportunity to choose again and again. It's almost like that place in the labyrinth. Well, two places in the labyrinth. The first was when the gal Sarah had entered the labyrinth, and the little snail being was about to tell her you could just walk straight through the middle. But it's as if I got that opportunity, but because I had seen that movie, because I had loved that movie, I knew that not everything is as it appears, and that it is good to stop and wait sometimes and get all the information. And it's as if Spirit made sure that I knew that I could walk right through the middle to the center if I wanted. And I chose to take the maze anyways, to take the labyrinth because I already knew at that point. I knew many things that you did not know yet. I knew many things that many people did not know yet. And even I did not fully understand why I knew those things. I only knew that I knew them. And I decided to go through the labyrinth anyways because I was excited to see what sort of journey it might take me on, who I might meet, where I might go, how it might add delightful plot twists to our already delicious story, the story of us. And then the second point, when she came across the doors with the double headed guards that told her only that one of them was lying and they could not tell her which was lying. And she had to try to decide which one to go through. Which way, which one do you choose? And I feel like every time I've come across those points, not only have I done my shadow and light work in healing from fear of deceptiveness, so that by the time that I've come across those gatekeepers, I've no longer feared which one is speaking the truth and which one isn't. And I no longer take it as a sign of lowered self worth if I either don't know which one is lying and which one is telling the truth, or if I pick a door or a hole or a trap door that didn't take me exactly where I wanted to go. I no longer fear the bog of eternal stench. I no longer fear being stuck in, what do you call them, one of those little holes where people are sent to be forgotten, because I know by the way I feel which direction to go. And I know that just like in that movie, there is always a friend just around the corner. There is always spirit waiting. And that in the moments that seem the worst are usually right when it's about to get really good again. I feel delightful, masculine. almost, there's almost a part of me that is enjoying this journey so much that even though my whole being tells me that soon we will be reconnected in the 3D in ways better than anyone had formerly imagined, in ways that many people might not even believe. And although I am definitely excited for that, especially with all the work that I have done to recognize that that is not the end, that is where another grand adventure begins. And even though I'm excited for that, I'm also looking back at the time that has passed. I'm looking back at all the things that I have accomplished on my own. I'm looking at my own comparison through my eyes, your eyes, and others' eyes of me versus third parties, and feeling like I can look in the mirror and actually look at myself and say without any conceit or doubt that I am adorable, that I am divine, that I am delicious, that I am legendary, and that it was always meant to be that way. And you know, dear masculine, I think my favorite part about seeing all these things is that I can remember a time when you tried to tell me. I can remember so long ago when we met. I can remember, I can remember when you tried to communicate to me what you saw in me. And it felt like at the time that you were communicating that you saw an innocence in me. And I can remember the layers of conditioning, like the layers of an onion that were all around me. I took offense to the idea of being considered innocent. And while I no longer take that offense because I can completely see it, I've always been far more connected with my inner child than many around me. And because of the path of life that was carved out for me in the beginning and then how I carved my own path, it's not that I have any sort of naiveness. As you've noticed, there are many experiences that I should not have the depth of experience and understanding that I do. So I do. I can play all the karmic games and be involved in all the drama as much as anyone else if I want to be. I know that part of our path has shown you that I, as divine as I am equally as human as you and anyone else. Though it is our choices that really make the difference. That's why, as I know Spirit is helping you learn, that time is the greatest equalizer. Time is what reveals true colors. Time is what shows you, well, just about everything. And it's so funny because so much of this entire journey has been intended to show us both and others that time is a concept we don't need, and that it's not what we thought it to be. It's not what we were conditioned to believe that it was. Though it's also not a bad thing, especially in the instance of time revealing all. Because a lot of people can say a lot of things, a lot of people can claim to be a lot of things. And oftentimes they really intend it, though whether or not they'll ever really get it, whether or not they really are that person, whether or not you can truly interact with them in ways that you had in mind when you first met them, it's all revealed in time. And I know that this is part of your place in the cycle. What Spirit is showing you, how you waste time, how you utilize time, what you invest your time in, what those around you and physically closest to you invest their time in. I know that you're recognizing that oftentimes it's the little things that make the biggest difference. And also the spirit in which somebody does something, because I know, dear DM, that I know your path. I know your past. I know you, as you said, better than you know yourself. Which is why I also know that Spirit has helped guide me in such a way as to show you that. Not just through what I have done, what I've said, how I carry myself, and what I do, but also through helping you recognize that I have never been in a place where I've allowed my fear of time, because it has been a great insecurity for a long time. I've never allowed that to cloud my knowing, my hawk's eye view, my eagle's eye view of things, to know that time is all you need. Because when you're lost, I will find you time after time. Just like I know that you would if I ever got lost again, which feels like I probably won't ever be lost again in the ways that I have been in the past, though it is a comfort to know, should I ever fall back into the depths of Dark Night of Soul that I have been through from your additions and plot twists to the story of us, that you'll find me too, like you always have, time after time. And dear DM, lately, I I see so much of your journey, and I think about that song, Sweet Child of Mine. And I think about your inner child, which is, my dear DM, one of my most favoritist things about you. It's one of my most favoritist things about us. And it's one of the reasons why I know that no matter which layer of the onion you're currently peeling off, no matter what immature adult quote unquote way that you might be acting, that none of it matters, because I have seen you, the real you. You allowed me to get closer than anyone has ever gotten, and I know that you did not even let me all the way in. I think that what I have noticed the most is that the more you let me in, the more that you felt that it was true, that it was real, that it was a, a beautiful connection that is both peaceful and intense, both safe and intimidating. And the more that you did it, the more that you tested and found that it was true, and that scared you more than if I had failed every test. And dear DM, I must confess that there's so much of me in these days watching you wrap up old karmic cycles and navigate your way through third parties that remind you of how you grew up and of your early story before me. And I know that you are seeing, I know that you are feeling, I know that you are emerging into another beautiful layer of consciousness and enlightenment that, well, I just know that you're going to delight yourself. especially as Spirit has helped me feel so comfortable in my own emotions that it's like I'm sitting on the Empress's throne now, and I am not worried about the passing of time. I am not worried about what people think in the 3D. I'm not even worried about what you think because I know things by the way they feel. And I know that you, being the creature that you are, that you know things by how they feel also. And I know that that is a combination of why you stay distant and why you cannot let go. Because, dear DM, at one point I finally realized that you could not let go. And I know that I even, you tried to hide that from yourself for so long, and Spirit led me to show it to you, to show you it is you who cannot let go. And I'm excited because now we are in a place where I have learned and am learning to delight in the silences, to delight in what is not said and done just as much as what is said and done. And now, because I can shut my mouth when Spirit says no, I am just telling you what is going on with your DM. You don't need to caution them or warn them. You only need to hold space with faith and to continue to delight in your own independent freedom. And as I get there, I think about all the wonderful things, all the wonderful ways that Spirit is going to surprise and delight you, which, well, it's not hard with you. It's simply that it does take a little bit more creativity. And that too, dear DM, I know that you get on yourself for your pridefulness and your stubbornness. I know that I have contributed to you beating up on yourself for that. Though I know that it's actually a sign of your strength. It's a sign of your light that once Spirit takes your bratty butt to town, that you're going to recognize that nothing you thought was a weakness really is a weakness, that your strength is in your vulnerability, that that's where you find the courage that you have so long attached to others. That's when you find strength within from self-love. And I'm so excited for that, sweet child of mine, because I know that you've been looking up at the skies, sometimes screaming, other times just whispering and asking, what is the next step? And I know that so much of life in the past made you bitter, and that now, now that Spirit is setting out your table of things from the past that you carried with you that carry that bitter and sour taste, that you have started intentionally putting sweeter things on your table and are now in sort of a bittersweet energy where you're recognizing you've been both your own worst enemy and your own greatest hero the whole time. That you've been hiding in other people's traumas, that you've been allowing yourself to be controlled in all the ways that you say that you hate. I know that your own delightful ego has put you in positions where you must act, where you cannot remain in the energy that you once were blissfully ignorant to. And I know that you're about to delight me with all, I don't even know the right words to put it in. All I can see are these images and dreams and visions of our inner children delighting in each other as they did when we met. And every time that the world got us down when we were separate, somehow our hearts led us back to each other in some of the most seemingly impossible ways. And I have complete faith that As that happened then, and as that has happened in our separation mission, it will continue to happen in the future because we've chosen this lifetime after lifetime. We have chosen to go on a journey that most would never put a toe in, much like others who would come to that five-way crossroad and choose one of the paved roads. I feel like I can see, let's say, you, me, and a couple of third parties, and here I am, and I choose to carve a path not yet known to anyone. And the third parties, they all look at the roads and choose the ones that look the easiest to travel. The ones that feel like they will get them from point A to point B the fastest, the easiest. They choose instant gratification, which is not bad. They simply do not get the treasures that come from carving out their own paths, as the five people did who created those crossroads. And you, my dear DM, I know you. You would not choose the easiest path, especially not after your time with me and the amount of enlightenment you have already allowed yourself to receive. Though you also were not in a place when we started that you felt brave enough and confident enough in your own internal compass to carve your own new path. So you pick some path that feels like in the middle, that it is not the easiest path to travel. You have picked the road with the potholes in it and the rocks that jut out in weird places and the ones that sometimes have a very steep incline that you must walk up mm, while being mindful of your pace and your breath and your body. And I just love that. I love that. Because I know that now when you come to a crossroads, you come to it differently than where you started. And each time you come across a new crossroad, you think about your past when you have chosen the easiest road, when you have chosen the hardest road, and what sort of delightfulness you've learned along the way. I know, dear DM, whether you say so or not, that my presence in your life has changed everything. And you have already said it in so many different ways. I know that it is part of why, even if you were capable of cutting off every 3D thing, that you still could never let go. For dear DM, I know that just like I have never met anybody like you with a beautiful soul like you, beautiful eyes like you, and a beautiful, delightful, fun, and loving inner child that you have most certainly never met anybody else like me, and you know that you never will again. And I also know that you struggle because, oh, you definitely have a greedy streak in you and some karma to unravel there, and that you struggle with trying to decide if holding on to me is greedy. Because I get these images of you in your mind. It's like if you were an ancient Egyptologist and you found some one of a kind artifact, and you knew that if you gave it to a museum or sold it to a buyer or anything, that you would never see anything so rare ever again. Which is another reason that I feel on a regular basis so much gratitude for every third party that's ever wanted to be involved in our journey, for every third party that you have brought in. That in the past I would have screamed and shouted about the immaturity of it, the unfairness of it all. And now I sit back and I think, I am so happy that my masculine brought in everyone that he did, allowed in everyone that he did, was immature as he was had such growth opportunities in his boundaries, because Each one of them has helped you observe how you walk your own paths, has helped you see the contrast, has helped you see what I needed to see in myself first, that I am unlike anyone you have ever met, and that just my presence around people, whether I'm standing gracefully and elegantly in my divine femininity, or I'm acting with the flesh in 3D ways, in the depths of my own insecurities, racing around trying to play in the rat race like everyone else, which, as I'm sure that you have noticed, is not my strong suit. It's much easier for me to flow in the receptivity of divine femininity and divine delight. And it's so much more fun. Oh, dear DM. I feel like everything that is happening right now as a part of this energy of a rebellion of fun is helping you see that yes, you are quite capable of amassing all the 3D things you once thought were the only way that the rest of the world would see you as successful. All the money, the domiciles and cars and watches and fancy colognes, all the picturesque of picket white fence and wifey and family. You got all the things. You manifest them. You have always been a master manifester and not really ever known it, despite how many times I've told you it. And yet now I know that you are seeing that there have only really been two things you've ever really wanted when you break it all down. The first is to feel like you are somebody that you can love, somebody that you're not afraid will just mess everything up. Somebody who doesn't feel like they've always got two screws loose, or like they're bipolar because they have emotions, or that they're weak because they have boundaries and sensitivities and dreams and hopes. And the second thing is to feel like your life is fun. I know that throughout your life, well, I want to say life has done it, but I feel so very much my very delightful divine masculine that spirit does things for us, not to us. And I was there with you in the past, agreeing that the way that the world had, quote, beat you up was unfair, and that it set you up for needing to heal the trauma that you're going through. Though now I can see it. I can see that you were set up for contrast early on so that in the now, so many decades later, you could love yourself in ways that have been unknown to any other. You can look back at your past and see it rectified before you, as not as a story of weakness where you should never play and you should never follow your instincts, where a past story where you just always mess it up, and instead you are seeing it rectified into a story of strength. I know that spirit is showing you how, just like me, you often make choices that others would not make, and they almost always hold within them this beautiful inner child intention for more fun. And now I know, as you emerge from a very deep, dark night of soul, that you are seeing it, that that's what you're missing in your life right now. That nurturing of your inner child. I know that you are starting to carve out time for you. You are starting to learn to say no when you are not mad. You are starting to learn to say that Your hopes and dreams are important too. You're starting to recognize that trying to put the power of your happiness in anyone else's hands, no matter if they love you or not, is not a good plan. And that once you have learned to satisfy your own inner child and make yourself feel safe and give yourself all the things that you formerly thought would never feel good unless they came from somebody else that psychically and intuitively just already knew what you needed and wanted. And you're recognizing that once you're capable of giving those things to yourself, then anyone else giving them to you is a bonus, which removes all the oomph from those of your present and past who formerly used those as ways to keep you controlled, as ways to keep you trapped. And I'm excited for those moments when the enlightenment comes and is like somebody hitting a gong, and you realize all along that it was you keeping yourself trapped, that you were never trapped, that you were just going through some experiences, some of them repeats of the past, and some of them completely new and different. And that it was only you in your mind, the following the conditioning of those who wanted to keep you in victim consciousness because it was much easier to benefit from your riches, from your labors, from your love, if they could keep you feeling like you could not do it without them, if they could keep you feeling like you weren't capable of being more than enough just as who you are. And this is where I really delight, my dear DM, because as I feel all the kundalini energy in and around me telling me that you are feeding yourself, you are filling your own cup, that as you do that, Spirit is making sure that along my path, as I have surrendered to it, as I have allowed myself to delight in all the amazing things that could happen, that will happen, both in the space between 3D us and after then, that Spirit is going to make sure that all of the adventures that I get into will be known to you, either through your dreams or through direct 3D ways that I know that you lurk on me, and that it will remind you that you can get all the 3D stuff in any way you like, though the real the real thing that matters is the spirit in which you get them in. Anybody can get money. You can steal it, you can earn it, you can win it. You can sell yourself out, you can invest in real estate, you can borrow here and there. You can make money in so many different ways, though what matters most is the intention you set when you seek to get it. And I know that you are learning that to seek out money and resources and relationships and things from a place of fear, from a place of desperation, from a place of feeling like you lack something without those things, that it will only manifest all those things in unsustainable ways. Whereas when you seek out those things more, when you think of them more as a happy side effect of doing what you already love, then whether it flows in abundantly or simply at a trickle, you are happy with it either way. You are happy with $1 as much as you are with 1,000,000. And I know that you're seeing that to have all of the 3D things that you want means nothing if you don't feel like you have somebody meaningful to share it with. And I know that your perspectives of what that even means are transforming. Because before it may have simply been a breathing body, just somebody there who, at least on occasion, makes you smile, as long as you can buy them something or argue with them or have somebody to at least say to the rest of the world that you walk beside them that that's what it meant to have somebody to share your life with. So you're seeing you're seeing the difference. I know that spirit is bringing you more people like me in the sense that there is such a difference to having someone to share your 3D and 5D life with who does not need any of the things you would choose to share. I know in the past that this was a complicated lesson for you because so much of the world conditions us to believe that we need to be needed, that we need to need others, that the truth of love is how many people need you. And I know that this lifetime was set up specifically for us to experience the wealth of having friends and lovers and family around who have absolutely no need for us. They don't need our money. They don't need our expertise. They don't need us to be the laborers for their next investment. They don't need us to protect their empire. People who need nothing from us, and yet they want us. They want to be around us. They want to be a part of our journey and to share their journey with us. And I'm so excited, dear masculine, because I can feel this sweet inner child of mine delighting in all that is manifesting, and I can feel that sweet inner child of yours also doing it. I can feel that I can feel like what feels like it feels like children who are excited for that family gathering almost on the 4th of July where let like it's at a beautiful park where you can swim and you can play and it's completely safe and the adults are enjoying themselves and delighting in their inner children too, and there's no drama and there's no stress, and you know there will be healthy food and comfort food and delicious treats and snacks and everything that you could ever want. And it feels like that bit of excitement just before. It feels like that excitement on Easter when the adults tell you you must take a bath or clean your room or do something while they go hide eggs so that it feels like a magical experience. And you know that it's coming, and so you do what is asked of you with a sense of wonder because you know that magic is coming and that after a delightful family meal is coming, and not necessarily one of the past where drama always unfolded, instead a safe one where there are many pleasant surprises. I don't know how to put words to exactly everything that I feel, my dear DM, but I know that I feel it. And I know that that's all that I need to know. And I know that we are in a time and space where you are learning to let go of needing to understand everything, every detail of everything before you make your decisions, before you decide another person's worthiness in your life or your own worthiness in theirs. I know that you are healing that side of you that has been impetuous and impulsive in the past, feeling like you needed to armor yourself from potential emotional destruction. I know that you are recognizing that your ability to take leaps of faith is actually one of your most amazing qualities. I know that you are starting to recognize that every quality that you saw in me and admired is one that you also have, that you keep in your heart. I know that Spirit is helping to show you that so much of what you have loved about me was my reflection of what you love about you, what you didn't know that you love about you. And I am excited. I am excited for this journey ahead will be a delightful additional chapter to the story of us as you rise within yourself, as you allow your inner child to come out and play and temper that stubborn adult side that always has to be in control. It always has to have the last word. And I know that as you allow your inner child and the way that you feel to start to guide you into that next crossroad where you might decide, you know what, I'm picking up that machete too, and I'm going to carve myself my own path. And I'm excited for you because as I have done the same, I have found treasures untold buried in the bushes and the vines, sitting at the bases of trees. I feel like as I have carved a new path that I have seen things that it's not that others have never seen them or never will, but they're not seen very often, like that old bicycle that somebody left on a tree hundreds of years ago that the tree loved so much it grew around it. And now the bicycle is 20 feet up in the branches, just as much a part of the tree as the leaves that turn green when the spring comes. And I am delighted for all the treasures you'll find along the way that help you learn to love yourself in all the ways that I want to say that I tried to love you, though it's not tried. It only felt that way for me in the past because I had a great misunderstanding. I assumed that if I loved us both for the both of us, that you would one day just get it and be able to start picking up and loving yourself, and that I would not have to labor so hard. And I believed that so firmly that I felt like there was something deficient in me, that never happened. And now I can see, and I am delighted as my own ancestors clap and laugh around me to see that that was never the case, and that spirit never wastes a thing. Because now comes the point in time where in the past you were so afraid of my genuineness, of my love, of my unconditionality, that now, as you become more you than you have ever been, and recognize that it's a completely new you, as you learn to love yourself, that you are learning to see yourself from my eyes. For no matter how much doubting of myself I may have done, no matter how insecure I may have felt in the past, no matter even of my worst qualities and darkest moments, that I've always known this feeling of love for you, and I've expressed it, not in every way that I could, but almost. And as I watch our paths unfold delightfully in front of us, I know that you are starting to see you through my eyes, just as I am starting to see myself through your eyes, as I am starting to recognize this innocence within me that you always saw, along with, I want to call it a touch of wickedness, of mischief and mayhem, of just as many onion layers of conditioning as anyone else has had. I know that you've been scared of that in the past because you've been stuck in these outdated and antiquated thoughts about what feminine means, what a woman is, what a man is, what a masculine is. And I know that you can sense that, much like anyone else. I have had similar thoughts and similar desires to be dramatic and reactive, to be jealous and possessive, to be a martyr. And yet you're also seeing that The spirit in which I did them, the spirit in which I experienced them was different to begin with. Just as the same is true of you. You are you are in a space and time and will continue to journey on in one where you're starting to recognize the glory of you. And Spirit is taking you on a glory tour of all the things about you that have always been wonderful, that have made the less wonderful parts even more wonderful on their own. Oh, dear DM, I feel like I could gush about this for ages, for lifetimes. It feels like, of all the things that we have experienced in past lifetimes and in this lifetime, that this was the the thing that kept us separate in all those former lifetimes where we always found each other and we always came together in some way, though we could never really stay together. Because this is the part where you recognize who you really are, not just to me, but to yourself, to your children, to those around you, and most importantly, to the universe, where you start to recognize the miracle of even being born, of how many of your ancestors had to come together in all the various different magical and synchronistic ways that the universe could bring people together for you to even be born, for you to be born in this lifetime with the karma that you have. And I am so excited, dear DM, for no matter what the future holds, whether, oh, I want to say whether our 3D union comes about in this lifetime or not, though it feels like it's just being prudent at this point because I can feel it. I can feel you reaching union with you. I can feel you connecting with your 5D self. I can feel your inner child delighting in the healing that is happening in your very own heart. And I know by the way I feel that what's coming is going to be the most beautiful journey that either of us have ever experienced, because in this one, you learn unconditional self-love. And that, dear DM, is when you learn what true power is, and that it can never be taken, not sustainably, and that it's the most beautiful thing to be in a place where power comes to you and you have no need for it. And because you have no need for it, you don't need to be walking the world where you're always 1 foot in and 1 foot out, having dozens of backup plans in case the thing that you try to have doesn't work out. Where you get to walk forward into your life knowing that while plans are nice, you don't have to have any sort of plan. You don't have to worry about the unplanned beeps and alarms, the people that might come across your way. You don't need to worry about anyone in the past who told you to walk on eggshells in your life because catastrophe might happen. You are getting to where you can feel that life is good no matter where you are and who you're with, because you're never really alone, especially when you are in union with your 5D self and your inner child, when you are happy about the life you have carved, even in the moments that you carved out things you didn't really want. Oh dear DM, there's so much to say and to also not say, so much to feel, so much to adventure and journey about. And just as I am excited for what you get to learn, I am excited for the new paths that I am carving. It's like instead of just trying to go through and carve my own path just to say that I did that, now I can start deciding to make a curved path that connects from known trail to known trail and then creates its own new crossroads, and not because I need to do anything, simply because it's delightful to do so. And because I know that there will be countless untold future stories that I might not ever know of in this lifetime, where others will find the connections that I have carved and have their own delightful journeys just as we have. And I am just as excited for my part in this universal divine comedy as I am for all the personal things between you and me. And I am excited for how Spirit has already set my table and will continue to in ways that beguile and delight you. For in the moments when we get to connect in the future, when you no longer pretend that you don't know, that you don't feel, that you're not aware, in those moments when you get to share with me that you did know, that you did feel, and that you are amazed that the universe put someone on your path who could see right through you every time. Those will be fun moments. And the moments that will follow after them, when we get to fill in the gaps for each other of things that we already knew but we had no 3D evidence for, those will be delightful moments. I feel like I can feel both of our inner children delighting in those, delighting in seeing that adulthood does not have to mean the death of our inner children. In fact, it's supposed to mean growth and encouragement of it. It's supposed to mean more fun, not less. My dear divine masculine, I will leave you with this, and I'm not sure that I will send many more messages into the universe like this in the near future, as I am enjoying delighting in my, I almost want to call it a solo mission, though it's never really solo, because I can always feel you everywhere, within and around me. Though either way, I'm enjoying seeing who I choose to become in my 3D independence, and seeing how much that delights you.